Hi there, I'm in the studio today getting ready to create another one of these Easter Bunny wreaths, and I thought I'd take a moment, turn on the camera, and share the process with you. So this piece is going to be a little bit different than what I typically do, so you'll really enjoy following along with me. I think I'll keep it there. What I'm starting with is a 14-inch grapevine base, and I've gone ahead and just put a pipe cleaner in for the holder. And I also have gone ahead and I have made some mesh poofs out of Deco mesh. I have a lighter and a darker. The lighter one has gold. I think I got this at the Dollar Tree. And then the darker one, you'll notice, is more of like a burlap color. I cut a 10-inch square, and then I took some dark brown pipe cleaners and just twisted it off. And my thought process on this, I have this adorable little garden bunny that I want to put in. So my thought process is to use the puss. I also took apart, and I'll show you a picture, a wreath that I bought at Marshall's on clearance. I took the greens out and I'm going to insert those in this piece. And then right now what I'm thinking I want to do is some tulips. And I have a couple different colors of tulips, and then some other things, some eggs and some other spring items that I want to add in. Sometimes when I get a project started, I'll have a general basic idea of what I want to do, and then as I work along it might just completely change. So we'll see. Right now this is where I think we're going on this piece. So what I want to do is I want to alternate, I'm thinking, the mesh poofs with a piece of greenery in like so, and then I'm thinking I'm going to add tulip bunches to that. But first things first, I want to add in our little rabbit with the Easter eggs. He's adorable. Got him at Marshall's for $12.99. I have already gone ahead and I've put a dowel in between his two legs with some hot glue, and then I've also, on the wheelbarrow here, there's a little bar across the two wheels. I have also slid in a zip tie because I'm thinking that that's how I'm going to attach it. When I decide on an actual wreath base, I always, first of all, I hold it up and I look at it and I decide which way I'm going to put my design, and then which way has the best width on it for what I want. I'm liking the way that this is down here, the thickness of it, and my thought process right now is, I'm going to kind of pull this out of the way, is to put him somewhere in here, down in there, wedge him in, and then connect this zip tie down in here. But we'll see as we go along. I also did notice when I got him at the store that some of the Cecil's missing on his ear, so I'm going to actually hide that when I put the leaves and everything, but I'm aware that I do have a little bit of his ear that's missing. So like I said, I put the dowel on, and that's going to all be hidden. I'm going to put some glue in once I get him where I want him, but that's, you're not even going to know that there's a dowel there. Sometimes this takes a little bit of time too, you know, just playing with it to get it just the way you want it. Definitely drop down in, that's good. I know I want the ear on the outside, I want him forward. And then I'm going to drop this, I'm going to try to drop this down in here, in between. Sometimes you feel like this is a two-person job. Just do the best you can. The great thing about a zip tie is if you don't like the way you position it, you can just cut it and use another. But yeah, I like that. So, and I want to make sure that I move the zip tie part to the back. So I'm actually going to try to thread this in. I like that. I'm happy with that. Again, keeping in mind that we're going to have to cover up the tip of the ear because there's a little bit of that sisal missing. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to apply some glue to, I'm going to clip this. I'm going to go ahead and apply some glue to that skewer that I used. Making sure I put plenty of glue in just to cover it up good. Make sure that he's in there nice and secure. Okay, now I'm going to start working on the Deco mesh pieces, adding those in. And I'm just going to kind of figure. The reason why I like to do that, when you're using something, let's say that isn't flat, it just helps to bring more life and balance to the piece than if you didn't use these. You could, if that's your style and you wanted to just go ahead and put some greenery, you could. But out of both methods, when I've done it, I have much preferred this method. Now what I typically do is to make these poofs, I take a 10-inch square of Deco mesh, I just fold it in half, and I just simply bunch it up in my fingers. Doesn't even have to be perfect. Gather it all up like this. Then I've taken a pipe cleaner and I've cut it into thirds, and I just simply twist it around. You could even at this point, if you wanted to add a touch of hot glue, you could, but I typically do that towards the end, and then I just have my poof. And like I said, I'm going to alternate between the regular burlap and the lighter burlap. I think by his cart here, I think the first thing I want is maybe some sheet moss down in there. So I'm going to take some sheet moss, I'm going to hot glue that in down underneath his cart before I go ahead and put any poofs in. See, this is what I mean about designing as you go. You always tend to change your mind. That's why I'm such a visual designer. I like to have a good majority of an idea of what I have on hand for florals, what I have for supplies, so that when I go ahead and start to work on my project, I know what I have available. I like the look of that. And I'm also going to put some in here. So I want to just apply some hot glue. It's kind of hard to pick up that. I don't want to get the hot glue on. Now, I always save my stems from some of the flowers that I've thrown out, and I use this to press down where there's hot glue so that you don't burn yourself. Yeah, I like the look of that. And then I think I might just put a little bit more over on that side to balance it out right in here before I go ahead and start with the Deco mesh. One thing, that sheet moss is so dirty. Okay. So now I'm going to start putting in some of my poofs. And I am going to use a steel pick machine just to apply some picks to it, just to make sure that I've got that extra Now it might look really poofy at first, but just play with it for a little while. Don't give up too soon. think you're getting the idea. At this point, I'm going to pause the video and then I'll come back on once I have all the poofs done. Okay, so that was a longer pause than I thought it was going to be. I actually ended up having to stop videoing, and it's the next day. So I apologize for that, but we are going to start right where I left off. I have gone ahead and I have finished all of the Deco mesh poofs that I talked about putting in. I did want to mention the lighter one with the gold. I actually got that at the dollar store. And then this other one that I use, the burlap, I think I got this at Hobby Lobby, and I simply just cut 10-inch squares out of it. Not the best quality, but for what we're using it for, it's really just to add dimensions, so that's not the most important thing at this point. So we've got all our poofs done. I'm going to go ahead and put that out of the way. Now the next step from here would be, this is all, you could tell this is nice and secure at this point. So we want to go ahead and we want to choose our greens. And as I said earlier, I had purchased a wreath at Marshall's. I originally thought when I got the wreath that I was just going to apply the wreath to a grapevine base and use it that way. But the wreath was such poor quality that what I ended up doing was I pulled off all the greens. And my thought process is that I'm going to stick them in here or there and then put in some tulips as well. So that's going to be my next step. I'm going to go ahead, get some hot glue here. Need another glue stick. And the one thing about the greens that I really want to stress to you, and if you follow us on Facebook and if you've seen some of my other lives or some of my other videos, I'm always saying time and time again that it's super important to use a variety of greens because it just adds dimension. So on top of these here, what I'm thinking I'm going to use is some of this lighter green, and we'll talk about that as we get into the project. But can you just see how that just makes it pop? So when you're shopping for your pieces to put something like this together, think about that. Don't just pick one green. Pick several different shades, tones, textures. I'm also thinking about adding some of these branches in. And again, you know, this is just going to add more dimension. Makes it look more like a designer quality wreath. So I've got these here, and I'm just using glue on either side, and I just want to kind of at this point randomly place them. I don't want to cover up that cute wheel, but just kind of randomly place them here and there in the wreath. I love this color green. That's why I wanted to buy it when I saw it on clearance, because it's different. It's soft, and it actually goes really, really well with the vest that the rabbit has on. I love the colors. They're different. And again, you'll find the more videos that you watch of my work, the more pieces that you see. I like to have my pieces look different and unique, not the same. And I think that's something that we should all strive for. I mean, we all have our own taste. Just make it uniquely yours. That doesn't necessarily mean that everybody's going to love everything that you make, but you love it, and that's the most important thing. Now, occasionally what I'll do is I will stand back and look at things to see how we're doing. I like to just kind of look at it from a distance as well. And you want to make sure that you get the underneath, and we also want to make sure that we get the sides. So I'm just going to kind of stand back and see how things are going. I'm liking it so far. One thing I'm not sure is if I want to add any more poofs up here or not. I'm thinking I don't want to, that I want to just start adding in greens next, so we'll see how that goes. You can already see how this green is just really popping off of the mesh. Okay, and I'm noticing that there are a few little straggly pieces of mesh that I'm just going to cut. This one I think I can pull out. Now at this point I'm pretty happy with that amount of green. I might go ahead afterwards and add some more, but for right now I'm happy with that. I also have some other little Easter eggs that I think I'm going to add to the basket. This color definitely complements the little bow tie. I think I'm going to put that one a little bit further out. You can typically find these dollar store. Walmart usually has them. In there. Now I know I mentioned earlier about the sheet moss. You can get that Hobby Lobby, Michael's, Joann's. And then I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of sheet moss to cover up any of the glue in that basket. It's just I don't want to cover up too much of the basket. So this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually put glue on the basket. And then I'm going to stick the sheet moss in there. It is messy though, that's one thing. Okay, so now I'm going to grab some tulips. I had said that my thought process right now is bunches of tulips. I have some peach, and I also have some green, and I'm just not quite sure what I'm going to do. If I wanted to, I could pop one of these because it's a light, medium, and a dark. I could pop one off and I could interchange, you know, change out one of these. I'm just not quite sure yet what I want to do. So the first thing I'm going to do is push that up as high as it will go, cut the stem a little bit, and then just kind of stick this in here to see what I think about that. Okay, I like that one up there. I was using my stemming machine earlier, and now it's giving me fits. There we go. Now typically I would say that if I was working on an arrangement, I'd have you cut all the pieces apart. It's just a little bit speedier once you get working, but I'm just not sure yet. I'm kind of just checking things out as to what I'm going to do. So I'm only going to cut a couple just to make sure that this is even actually the flower that I want to work with at this point. And I think I like that one there. Sometimes if it goes in really tight, I don't even bother to pull it back out again. I just take my glue gun and I see where it is down below, and I just hit it with quite a bit of glue. And then if I have to afterwards, I'll go in with some sheet moss to cover that up because we don't want the glue showing. Gotta try to figure if I want to put some green in or not. I'm kind of liking the peach at this point. I don't want to ruin it. Yeah, I think I'm just going to go with the peach for right now. Boy, these are actually going in really tight. That stem came right off. It surprised me. I didn't expect that. You know, if you notice, I'm kind of staggering what I'm doing, and the reason for that is I know I'm going to add in some other flowers. So I just don't want the peach upon one on top of the other. Also, if you notice, this flower is very open, and this one is as well, so I'm thinking they're going to kind of mimic each other, so I think I might put that one. I'm thinking right now that that one's going to go over there. We'll see. Cut this down a little bit, and let's just place this in here and see whether we like it. Yep, I like that. Now sometimes if I instantly know that I'm going to like something, I won't even bother to not put glue the first time. But a lot of times I will actually stick it in to make sure, and then I'll add the glue afterwards. See, this has really been quite simple so far, not that difficult. You could do this. Yep, that one's gonna go there. Oh, I just love spring. Makes you feel so good. Gotta grab another bunch of tulips. I don't know when you're watching this video, but today is February 22nd, and actually I know that these are 50% off now at Michael's. So at this point, what I think I'm going to do, again, I'm trying not to cover up that wheel too much just because it's so gosh darn cute. And I also don't want to make it look too perfect. I want to kind of intersperse a little bit. Still not quite sure how I'm going to do that. Okay, if you notice that when I mixed it together, I think that looks really pretty. I'm not going to do that with each one, but every once in a while I will do that. This is going to be hard to get in. I'm probably not going to have to pull this one out once I get this in there. I'm not liking that. Okay, and again, this one I can just simply put the glue right down in because it's in there really well. Now the other thing I thought about doing was adding some eggs. And if you notice this one, the bottom piece is broken off. So again, I'm just using a skewer. I've got the sharp point here, and I'm going to put some glue in the base of the egg and just feed the skewer up in. I'm actually going to let this one dry for a little bit and work with another. I have a blue colored one. So again, I was thinking about placing some eggs in there, and I like that. So I'm going to go ahead and put glue on it. I think I got these eggs last year on clearance. It was a great big, kind of like an arrangement, and I just pulled the arrangement apart. I tend to do that a lot. If I find something at a yard sale, Goodwill, somewhere like that, think beyond literally. You know, if you see a grapevine wreath and you don't care what's on it, you're still getting the grapevine wreath, which, you know, in a craft store would cost you $4 or $5. You could get it for $1 and then just pull off whatever's on it. So just start to kind of think in that way. Okay, so now I've got my yellow one that I just glued, and I'm going to leave myself about that much on the dowel. Just gluing up both sides. Actually, I think I'm going to put this one in here. Poking out. Oh, this is looking really cute. I'm happy with the way it's coming out. Okay, now we still need some flowers. We haven't done over here yet. Let's see. I think I'm going to do, I think I'll do green over there. I know I have a green there, but I don't want to do a mix. You know, another thing, if you weren't sure while you're working on this, you could just not glue anything and just place it in and then decide whether you like it and then go ahead and secure everything. I do have another video of a tulip wreath that I made. It's one of my other videos on my channel out of these particular tulips. And that, again, that's another super easy one that you could definitely do. Again, this one's in there pretty tight, so I'm just going to put a couple drops of glue to secure it. I think I'm going to do a variety on this one because I've got a variety here. I think I'm going to do a variety over here, so I'll show you how to do that. It's super easy. I want to be mostly green, so I'm actually going to just take the tulip head where the yellow is and pull it off. Save this because you can use it on one of the others. And then I'm going to take, I think I'll take the lighter one and just slide it in there. And there you have it. And I'm going to actually just stick that one over on this side here. Slide this up. And I'm just going to secure that with some glue. some more small eggs that I could put in. I'm liking that right there. I have this size, but I think that might be too big. Down in here. Yeah, I like that in there. So just put some glue. Like I said, I got this bunny at Marshall's. They had several to choose from. I know Hobby Lobby and some other craft stores have some as well. I just thought he was so cute with his little vest and bow tie on. Now, depending on your taste, you could absolutely positively, you know, stop here and not go any further. But I just want to show you, just give you an example of some other, another idea. Whereas if you wanted to add some of this light green in here, I don't know if you can see how that's going to just make it pop. I'm just going to lay in a few pieces to show you. Hopefully you can pick up on that and see that, the lighter on the darker, and how cute it looks. And don't forget your sides and your bottom, because, you know, when people come to your door, wherever you hang this, they are going to look at the side. So you want that side to be just as finished as all the rest. Put another one on the other side. Over here. Put that down. From this angle. Wants to do its own thing. And I'm going to put a couple down the bottom as well. Get another string here. And again, just the different tones of green, it's just going to add all the more interest to your piece. This little piece of straw. Hey, I don't know what it is. Clip it. Okay, so you could stop right there, or like I said earlier, you could go ahead and even add some more greens at the top, which is what I'm going to do. What I'm thinking of doing is having the branches go both ways across the whole piece. So for these, I am adding a stem piece at the bottom and a lot of glue. And what I typically do when I put in a big piece like this, I stick it in and I don't play with it. I just let it rest. until the glue really dries. Wow. Now see, this, I just got, I believe I got this at Hobby Lobby. So this is super simple. You know, I tend to bend it a little bit before because I know the way that I want it to go, so that once I do start to manipulate it, I'm not pulling too much on where I've glued it. But again, I know I want it to go in this direction. I'm just going to glue it in over here, and then I'm going to start working with the branches. I'm just gonna let that dry a little bit. Sometimes it's hard because you want to start fussing with it, but just let it dry. So now I have this piece up here. I want to try to make this look as natural as possible. So I think what I'm going to do is catch it in one of these branches. Sure what I want to do with this one yet. No, I don't want it to come in there. So I think what I'm going to do with this one is actually feed it through the grapevine. And you want to go real slow and pull out the grapevine because you don't want to pull off any of the leaves on your piece. These are so expensive. You want to have all the greens you possibly can. And then I'm going to do that with the last one. And then I'm going to go and I'm just going to put a very small dab of glue right where I secured that. Really small so it doesn't even show. Just trying to catch it. You could also wire it as well. A lot of times I'll do that. Okay, and then I'm going to actually pull a couple of the branches out and catch this one. Again, being really careful to try to not knock off any of those green, small green leaves from our twigs, because that just adds so much interest to our piece. I think I'm going to have to tie this one right about here. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with that yet. So I'll show you how I do that. Just going to get a little bit of light gauge wire. Just going to put the piece where I want it. And I am going to end up hiding this. This isn't even going to show when we're all said and done. And I'm just simply twisting the wire together and tying it. And then I'm going to tuck it in the back. Just twisting it together. Sometimes needle nose pliers come in real handy. So that you can just pull it right through. Okay, so for the sake of the video, speed, not to keep you too long, I did go ahead and I found some ivy leaves and I have stuck those in. And the next step, what I'm going to do is I have these really cute daisies with this little leaf spray. Again, I'm going to push them up, the leaf spray and the leaves. I'm not sure whether I don't think I'm gonna use the leaf. I think I'm gonna just take the leaf off. And then I've gone ahead and I've cut it. And what I'm going to do is here and there, am going to stick it in right by the tulip, and then it's going to trail down. So we're going to go ahead and apply some glue to that. I think I got these. I got these at Michael's. They were like $1.79 for 3. I'm sure by now they're on sale because I've had them for a little while. And what I love about something like this is they do come apart. There was a leaf that I took off, but then you've got this spray and you've got the white flower. So if you wanted to, you could completely use the spray on something different and just use the flower. But I really like the way that it cascades down here. I think it looks really pretty. So that's what I've decided to do. Figure out where I want my next one. I think I want the next one over here. Like so. Now you don't have to do everything completely even. A lot of times I don't. I just find that as I'm working on a piece, I just kind of go with, at the moment, what feels right. And again, it's all personal preference. And I want to kind of have that cascade down if I can. A lot of times when you add white to a piece, it really makes it pop. So I always try to put some white in if I can. Now this brings up a really good point. This frustrates me. I guess I wasn't really careful when either I picked the stem, maybe they were, I believe when I bought them they were in a set of 3, like this all bundled, but a lot of times at the store, see I'm missing a flower, and also when they shove it in the bag, sometimes it breaks off. So I might have it somewhere down in the bucket with the other flowers, but no, that's a different stem. So be real careful when you purchase your flowers at the store. You always want to take time. I didn't think to do that when I first started purchasing florals, but you always want to take time to take the stem and count to make sure that you do have the same amount. Because believe it or not, a lot of times I've found a stem missing 2 or 3, and where you're spending so much money on the stem, you want to make sure that you're getting all of them. I may do this one right in here. See how I like that. Yeah, I like that. So if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please go ahead and do so. We're going to be sharing a lot of really fun tutorials with you of all kinds, not just floral related, all different types of craft ideas. And we're just really hoping that we'll inspire you to create something. Do you typically make your own wreaths or do you purchase them? Leave a comment below. I'd love to know. If it's something that you typically just go out and buy, or do you try to create it on your own? Oh, it's so hard. Typically I would stand way back and look at it, but for the sake of the video, I'm not doing that. I'm just wondering. Yeah, I think I'm going to put one up there. Now this time I think I'm actually going to leave the leaves on because I like the way that that looks, and then I'm going to do another just to balance it on the other side. So this wreath was not expensive to pull together. Of course the most expensive piece was the bunny, the $13 bunny, but other than that, it was all, you could get your flowers even at Dollar Tree if you wanted to. You could choose your own color tones. Maybe you want to do purple, pink. Again, that's the great thing about creating. You can make it your own, completely make it your own. And I'm kind of at a weird angle here, but I'm going to do my best. are all set. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial, and I really hope you give it a try. Don't forget, subscribe to our channel so you won't miss any more of our upcoming tutorials. And thanks again for spending time with us.